It's been a long, oh, long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes it is. I go to the movies, oh, and I go downtown. Oh, but people keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes it is. Then I go to my brother. Change is gonna come. Oh, yes it is.
Now you can see why Adam is one of our favorite speakers and singer. Adam is one of the most sought-after inspirational speakers and singers in the Northeast. He's become a sought-after coach as well and corporate trainer who has become a leader, a new thought leader in the fields of positive psychology and practical spirituality. Through his work in both the sacred and secular settings, Adam has been helping individuals and organizations be the very best they can be for over 25 years. And he is currently the founder and partner in a consulting firm called Breakthrough Collaborations. As an ordained interspiritual minister, Adam began his preaching and performing journey under the guidance of a Reverend Kim Crawford Harvey at Arlington Street Church of the Universalist. We won't hold that against you.
We're all one.
The Unitarian Universalists. And he's also the former spiritual leader of Unity in the City, which have become very good friends of mine. And I am so grateful that he is bringing his enthusiastic message of love and hope to many congregations throughout New England. So once again, everyone, please welcome our very own Adam Sutton.
Thank you, Tony, for that enthusiastic introduction. It's great. It's always interesting when somebody reads your corporate bio and your spiritual bio, and you look for the Venn in between. When people ask for my bio for me to send it, I had no idea what I should send, so I've created a combination, the whole self. So I've been thinking a lot about the topic of change recently. I think that change can catch us off guard. Change can move us in ways that we are not even fully aware of until we're in the moment experiencing that emotional resonance. So I was in my therapist's office 3 or 4 or 5 days ago. And we were talking about my desire to yet again seek out a new community, a new place where I might find different, exciting people, people who could hold me in my journey and who I could offer and receive from. And in particular, I was talking about a journey that I began several years ago and it didn't go so well. I decided I wanted to try CrossFit again. CrossFit, if you don't know, is a very intense combination of exercises. They don't even call them gyms. They're called boxes. And you go to these boxes and you work out like crazy. And it involves a lot of lifting and pushing. And there's a lot of testosterone, not usually my thing. However, I said to my therapist, it might be good for me to get in touch with some of those energies and try CrossFit again. And he gave me this look that I rarely get from my long-time therapist. It looked a little bit like this. It needed very little interpretation, but I said, so what exactly is that? And he said, another thing? Another thing? And that's really all he needed to say. My therapist is trained in mindfulness meditation. He's very spiritual. And when he said another thing, I thought, I continue during times of change and turbulence to be seeking outside myself. This is what we do. We're human beings. We get concerned that we're not doing it right, or we're not thinking the right thoughts, or we don't have the right community surrounding us. We don't have the right message, the right meditation. Things are just not right. So what do? We grasp outside of ourselves. Now, I'm still going to try CrossFit because I did one workout and it felt good, and I feel strong, and for 51, I'm in decent shape, and I thought I'm going to go for it. Sure, that's ego. But I'm also not going to substitute the time in the gym for the time on the meditation mat. I'm not going to substitute my time working out for the time that I need to spend in spiritual settings, such as coming here to preach, such as attending friends' churches, to try to understand again why I continue to seek outside of myself for the answers that lie within. Change is often chaotic. And the reason why we were talking at all about my moving to a new community is because my meditation teacher of 2 years decided to sell his studio and to move to Portland, Oregon. Very long commute if you're going to need a meditation teacher. He then decided with his family that that wasn't going to work out, and so it was, living how to deal with change. Figured out that that wasn't going to work out, and he decided to move to Albany, a little bit closer. But the bottom line is that community that I showed up inside of for 2 years after finding a long journey to get there disappeared. He sold his studio, and my friends who I was practicing yoga with and meditation, and I think I've shared here, Chuck and others, that it was Tai Chi and other forms of meditation. And the bottom line is, that's gone. That's gone. The studio actually changed its name. I was there yesterday. Different colors on the wall. They put up a bar so that they could do Pilates and bar. And I don't even know what bar is. And I don't mean pull up to the bar. I mean, a dance bar. It felt really foreign. There was a new teacher. And I thought, this is not my community anymore. So that sense of never knowing exactly where to rest, if one is always focused on the external, needs some kind of grounding. And for me, that grounding through change is sitting on the meditation mat and sitting in prayer. It's driving up here. As you know, I try to focus on Route 6. I try to focus on the road, but I'm also taken with the beauty. I drive up first thing in the morning. The sun is coming up. The gulls are flying over. It's quintessential Cape Cod. And I think, well, that's why I come. This is why I drive down here. And in those moments, I'm remembering all the chaotic things that I'm trying to figure out. Within a week, I found out that my studio was closing, so I needed to finish the 200-hour yoga teacher training I was doing. I found out that the tenants I've had in the one piece of property that I own were breaking up and sending their daughter off to boarding school, which was difficult enough because I'd been there and sort of holding their relationship since they moved into this apartment. But I now need to find new tenants. I found out that at work, my business partner needed to sell his house, so there's a lot of shifting and changing going on there. Inside of all of this change and chaos, the only thing that I have to come back to is that sort of self-generated presence within. And we understand this inside of New Thought and in most spiritual traditions in which there is some sense that a piece, a spark of God lives inside of you. we understand that there is no way to find it externally. It's exciting to come today and to see so many more of you than the last time I stood before you. This is a vibrant spiritual community. You are growing. That is exciting. Do not get taken away with it. Do not get intoxicated with the excitement of the new. There is a Venn in between the building and the holding, which is all of you committing to your own spiritual practice. See, we get very excited about the party, the celebration that we have on Sunday mornings together, and the music has come together beautifully, and it's exciting. And about 45 minutes from now, many of you are slipping back into the chaotic thinking, running over to Trader Joe's, trying to remember why you forgot your grocery list, going to Lowe's, trying to figure out where you put that gift card you got a year ago that was going to help you buy half the shed that you can't really afford in the first place. You're spinning, you're spinning, you're spinning. And what I want to remind you of is the fact that in those moments when you are in a little bit of chaos, as they say in 12-step rooms that I visit, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly, change will come and you will survive it if you know how to go within. And many of us come to these settings and we're seeking some kind of inspiration or information that's going to turn the key for us. And I will tell you, there is no substitute for your own work, for your own daily spiritual practice, for your own even 5 minutes of silence and stillness. Because it is only in the silence and the stillness that you can even hear what we inside of Unity and in other traditions might call the presence of God, the presence within. The only way that you can even begin to have your ears and your heart open to it is if you take a moment and pause. And I've said this before in this setting to all of you, that the key is to develop some spaciousness between stimulus and response so that you can rest. Lately, I've been doing a meditation technique with my teacher. Before he left, he recorded it for me, which is about focusing on, after you've taken a breath, the beat before you take the next breath. So as you breathe in and out, it is often not completely circular. We breathe in. Let me try it right now. Let's just breathe in together. Breathe in. Breathe out. In between, there's a split second. There's a moment before you've breathed out. It is a moment where absolutely nothing happens. But it is a moment where God can talk. So many people whom I work with will say, in sacred and in corporate settings these days, how do I have that voice speak to me? I'm trying to make a decision. I'm going through a rough time. I will personally tell you that the experience I've had in the last 6 months, and I will not give you the long list because you each have your own, made this a very challenging winter. I didn't really know if I was going to come through it. And I don't mean that I was going to check out. But I really thought about stepping away from my primary relationship, my business relationship, and the work that I do in the world. I thought, I don't know if it's really worth it for me to try to get to churches to preach. I don't know if there's time and energy inside of me to do the work that I'm here to do, because it takes a lot of energy. And somehow, through the power of community, through the power of prayer, I just stayed still. And in the stillness, I heard some new thoughts. That's why we call it New Thought. And some of those new thoughts were, well, why don't you just hang out doing what you're doing with the people you're doing it with for another week, and another month, and another season. And then suddenly I noticed I was out in Saratoga Springs doing some work at Skidmore College last week, and I turned around and I realized, does this happen to any of you? Spring and the buds seem to open within about 16 seconds of each other. I have no idea how this happens, but you're looking one day and there's nothing on the trees, and then you sort of look to the left a little bit, and there is this rich, verdant green. And the trees, before they all open, are just hanging with this green. Rich, like fruit to be plucked. And in that moment I thought, oh, there's always newness. Change always comes. If I don't judge it and I just sit inside of it, in that quiet space between stimulus and response, before I breathe in another desperate breath to have more and be more and to think more, if I just rest, God can talk. And God says very interesting things. Like hope is always available. Like I am already enough. Like I have a church to come to. God says things like music will help you. Sing something today. God says things like maybe you sit on your meditation mat before you watch the Channel 5 news. God's very smart. I'm learning to listen. And so for you all to be able to move with me through the change that you're all undergoing, politically, energetically, economically, the world is spinning faster than any of us have ever imagined we would be able to take. And yet we're here. We're sitting quietly. We're taking in words that flow from Spirit. We're trying to make sense of them. And I will tell you this, it is enough. This conversation is enough. This message is enough. You are enough. And every change that is flowing is part of a larger plan that we fit beautifully inside of. Just like the leaf. Opening, whole, green, and growing in every moment. So take a breath in, if you would, with me, closing your eyes. And breathing out. We know now, God, that all beauty flows from within and without at once. That the energetic cycle of change is constant, and we are one with it. And so we seek in this moment and every moment hence to flow with the change, to be one with the change, and to allow the beauty. See the beauty and be the beauty. And so it is. Out of the ruin and the rubble, out of the smoke, out of our night of troubles, can we see a ray of hope? One pale thin ray reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city. Not a city of angels, but we can build a city of man. We may not reach the ending, but we can start. Slowly but truly mending, brick by brick, heart by heart. Now, maybe now, we'll start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city.
when your faith is all but killed. You can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but finally a city of man. A city of man.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.